This is my dad's Golf GTI that he bought brand new in 1984, and this specific car has seen a lot, and a couple of years back we decided to make this original hot hatch into a super hot hatch. And I want to tell you all about that in a couple of minutes, but before we do that I want to fix this little boo-boo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this fiberglass bumper off to my workshop, and I'm going to show you how I intend on repairing this bumper, and then I'll take you guys for a ride in this car and tell you all the modifications we did on this highly modified Golf GTI. Okay guys, welcome back to my workshop, and like I said, in today's video I'm going to be repairing this aftermarket fiberglass bumper. And guys, even though this is something that I do on a regular basis, I thought maybe I'd make a video to just run you through the processes that I take when repairing a bumper like this, and maybe it can help someone one day that runs into a similar problem. So the steps that I'm going to be taking to repair this bumper now that I've degreased and washed it is that I'm going to be holding everything together, all these broken pieces, with these pieces of off-cut aluminium and these posi drive screws, to just brace it into position and make sure that this thing holds its shape whilst I fiberglass it. And then I'm going to be using that flapper disc, and I'm going to be sanding the insides of these spots that needs to be repaired, so that I can then put some of this pre-cut pieces of fiberglass, a couple of layers on the inside. And then when the inside pieces of fiberglass are dry, I'm going to be removing these braces and the screws, and I'm going to sand down the outsides also, so that I can put another couple of pieces of fiberglass on the outsides and cover up the holes and so on. And then I can sand it down completely and put some bonder on there and some primer and sand it down, and then maybe give it a layer or two of paint. But I'm gonna keep you guys updated. The first thing I'm gonna do now is just scuff up the insides, and then I'm gonna brace it with these pieces of aluminium and put some fiberglass on the inside and leave it to dry, so that we can start with the outside. Okay guys, I have now put a couple of layers of fiberglass everywhere where I had to repair this bumper, and I also fixed the top bumper and the bottom lip together with a single layer of fiberglass. And the reason why I used only one layer is that that would be the breaking point if I had an impact on the bumper again, like I did the previous time. And luckily not everything shattered, only the bottom part broke off. So I fixed that together again. And what needs to happen now is I need to start fixing the outside. So I've also cleaned up all of the overburden of fiberglass with my cutting disc on my grinder, and I'm going to be removing these braces now, and then I'm going to grind open all of the cracks and then put a couple of layers of fiberglass on the outside and leave that to dry. And then I can sand it down and put some body filler on there and put some primer on there. But I'm going to do that and I'll update you in a moment. Okay guys, so now that I've put a couple of coats of fiberglass on all the repairs on the outside, and I've left it to dry for a couple of hours and trimmed down all the edges with my grinder, I'm gonna be getting rid of all the high spots with this very coarse sanding paper and this block by just sanding down on these repairs and making sure that there aren't any high spots. And then I'm going to be using a little bit of Bondo and just filling all the low spots in the repairs that I've done and sanding that down again with this coarse sanding paper. And after that I'll be able to sand down this whole bumper with a lighter or a finer sanding paper and then paint it with some primer. So let's do it. Okay guys, I have now painted this bumper with some primer and I then left it to dry, and what I did after that was I sanded it down with some 320 grit sanding paper, water sanding paper and a block, and after that I used some 600 grit sanding paper and I sanded it down by hand, making sure that I was very thorough and got to every single piece and corner. And I am now happy with what it looks like. I think we are ready for painting. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to paint it with the base coat, the blue color, and then I'm going to be painting it with some clear lacquer. And painting the base coat, especially a metallic color like this, it is important not to paint the base coat on too wet. So I give it a couple of light coats and just make sure that it's not wet and soggy, because that'll give the glimmer, it'll make the glimmer uneven. And when that is dry, I can give it a couple of coats of clear. So the first coat that I put on will be a very light coat just to make it tacky and make the clear coat adhere to it. And then after that I'll give it another 1 or 2 coats, making sure that it is not too dry and that it is a nice and even wet coat. And I'm going to use the light and the reflection of the light as a guide to know exactly how much I need to paint on there. But I'm going to paint it, leave it to dry, then I'm going to put it on the car because I'm very excited to show you guys what this is going to look like. Let's do it.